Hello, everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. It's Murph. It's hopefully going to be Sam, and we are live at the Portland International Raceway. It's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's time for the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. We are here for 75 laps of action at one of the most venerable and oldest venues in the Northwest. It's the Portland International Speedway. Right now, we've got, as I speak, 15 cars signed in. They've been trickling in, folks, and we're ready for what is promising to be an exciting bit of action. This road course is historic. It's been around since the 1960s, more well known as a venue for the IndyCar. As a matter of fact, IndyCar was just here. It's also in recent years been a stock car track. It was built in 1948. First opened in 1960. It was built as a street track, and then the permanent course built in 1960. The races here traditionally took place during something called the Portland Rose Festival, and since then it's become an annual event. Of course, Trans Am has raced here. IndyCar has had some famous finishes here. The track record outright, 58.740. That is Carlos Munoz in the 2018 Grand Prix of Portland. The NASCAR records here, a minute 15.253. That's from Justin Allgaier in the 2024 Pacific Office Automation 147. And that's the distance that we're going tonight. 75 laps, 147 miles. Stages are 25, 50, and then the final 25 laps. So 325 lap runs. We don't anticipate any issues on fuel. It's going to be a very simple go until the caution, make your pit stop, come back out. The question is going to be, is anybody going to have the guile to try something different, try to get ahead of their competitors on the pit lane? Sam, this would seem to be a track that you might be able to pull one of those, get on the pit lane and get back off before the leaders come around and lap you. Try to get some track position at that stage. What do you think?
Well, the time intervals that they have here at Portland, it really is possible, especially on the slower, more technical portion of the racetrack. If you're running near the front of the pack, I mean, that's very feasible that you might be able to pull in there and maybe get a fuel stop. Some drivers may not even change tires. They just may top off the fuel during the stages, or to make, as we say every week, week in and week out, who will take advantage of the stage break.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is very, very fast. It is very free-flowing. It is also, Sam, it's very flat, and it is very, very fast. There are 12 turns on this road course. The most famous of which, if you're looking at the aerial shot, is the first chicane, turns 1, 2, and 3, and then you've got the festival curves 4, 5, and 6, which are the sweeping right-handers here at the bottom of the screen. This track also has, as you can see, a rallycross course. That's at the very top, and Sam, it is the location of probably my most famous crash ever.
Oh, you have a famous crash?
One of them. So during the Velocity Online series race,
I would say your crashes are probably more notorious than famous.
Well, at this particular place, Sam, if you look at the very top, you'll see some blue paint at the end of the front stretch. That's a drag strip, and there's an access road that you can go to off of turn 11 and kind of go down the drag strip. I was in the Velocity Online race here. I was not having a good day. I moved onto the access road to allow the leaders to go past me, lost control, and wound up crashed upside down next to a pair of outhouses that are parked just at the end of that drag strip. And so, is that notorious enough for you?
I think it is. I really do.
Only I could
qualifies as notorious.
Only I could crash an Indy car upside down into an outhouse. But anyway, these are not Indy cars. These are stock cars. Sam, we're getting on to that time of the hour. We're less than 5 minutes left in practice. I'll bet you have no clue who the fastest in the session is so far.
I really don't. I was going to ask you if you've looked at the speed charts yet to see who's actually the fastest so far.
Well, there it is. And surprise, for the 846th week in a row, it's Ryan O'Donoghue, fastest in practice. How about Sean Roberts in the number 13? He is going to be second quick. Kendall Paul is up there. Matt Sizzler with a time.
Now, Sean Roberts actually ran very well at the last road course. He really did. He had a great run going, and then there was some contact between he and Greg Evans through the carousel, and so that kind of set him back for the rest of the evening. But Sean Roberts was strong. He was strong at Watkins Glen.
Yes, he was. And circling among favorites, Ryan O'Donoghue would have to be one. So would Troy Carricker, ran very well at the Chicago Street Course. Kendall Paul, a noted and accomplished road racer. He was in the top split. Now think about this. He made the top split of the IndyCar iRacing Series race last week. That's no small feat, Sam. That guy's been working hard on his craft, and Kendall Paul showing us how. Third quick, although he's a second adrift. I'll tell you, looking at the entry list, I'll tell you who's not here. Logan Edwards is not here, and that's a road course.
Logan Edwards.
Yeah, he's not in the lineup, and I don't see Greg Evans either. Is Greg giving it a miss this week?
Greg Evans is on vacation this week, I believe.
He is in Bora Bora. Copy that.
He's got to spend all that prize money somewhere.
That's right. So we are looking. We're looking forward to maybe a new winner here tonight. Without two of the fast guys and the road course king of the series not in attendance, Sam, we could be in for a treat. As I said, it is a 12-turn road course. The best passing opportunity is the chicane at the beginning. It is very difficult.
Oh,
it is very.
I still say it's the hardest turn one in all of road course racing.
Well, it's been redone too, Sam. If you look at it, it's been reprofiled. Back in the back in the 80s and 90s, it was even worse. Believe it or not, it was a little bit more shallow, and it bent back quite a bit more. And it was just.
Well, all it did was, you were talking about how fast this course is, and grant you, the straightaways on this race course are extremely high speed, but by adding that chicane there in turn one and really slowing the pace down, the first 7 turns on the course really are just roll through corners. There's really not a whole lot of movement or passing that you can do because you're just rolling. It's so technical to make sure that you hit those apexes exactly right so it can set you up for the speed portions of the course.
It is, and then once you get past turn 8, which really isn't a turn at all, it's just a left-hand kink. Turn 9 is a right-hand flick.
Yeah.
You get down onto that backstretch, and you would expect a passing opportunity down at turn 10 and 11. Not so, because it's a hard braking zone. You have to go left first, and then right, and then you immediately have to stand on the brakes again for turn 12. There's just not a lot of room down there to make a pass. It's narrow. The corners don't set themselves up or lend themselves well to making a pass, and so really turn 1 is
late in the race and you're desperate. Who knows?
Hey, you could make the pass. You could wind up upside down next to an outhouse, whichever you prefer, Sam. We are 50 seconds away from qualifying. We're going to cut the music because we're going to bring you some qualifying runs here momentarily. Do want to thank everybody for joining us here. That has been the Blackmagic Studios AMA Grand National Series pre-race show. We're just about waiting on the final 30 seconds to tick away. While we do that, Sam, let's take a look at the points, because this is starting to turn into a tongue twister. We are down to the last 2 races of the regular season. The Rose City 147 here at Portland. Next week, the Archway Industrial Coatings 200 is going to be at Gateway. And then we are off to the round of 12, and that starts at Bristol on September 11th before they get an off week. I'm getting excited and ready for that. But these drivers, they want to punch their ticket to that to the playoffs, don't they, Sam?
Well, when those opportunities begin to come less frequent, then of course it really ramps up the desire to kind of push the envelope a little bit for these drivers, especially when you have a field that's kind of minimalized for these road courses, and they want to take advantage of every opportunity that they may have. So you never know what's going to happen in the first corner of this particular racetrack, and you don't know what's going to happen during the course of the event. These cars, regardless of what you may think, these cars are extremely slippery in the technical portion of the racetrack through the first 7 turns. And when you pick up the throttle on the backstretch, you really have to be careful how much throttle you give that car, because if you're not careful, the back end will come around on you through turn 8.
Yes, it will. We're going to jump on board Troy Carricker here as he moves his way through his warm-up lap, working through turn number 7 now. He's going to hit 8 and 9. And this is colloquially the backstretch. They number that as turn 8. They number that as turn 9. These are not really turns you're flat out. Very, very, very flat out and hard through the corners here. And then you're going to stand on the brakes in these heavy stock cars down through turn 11. And then you better brake harder through turn number 12. And Sam, let's have Troy Carricker take us on a tour.
Well, so far, just on cold tires, Troy's got a good wheel under him right here as he's coming to the start-finish line. A whole lot of speed that you have to woe down right here. And as soon as he hits that 700 mark, he's really slowing the car down to first gear. Again, this chicane is so slow, but is actually so important to hit good so that you can get your speed going into the next series of turns. And Troy's done a great job so far.
Yes, he has. Here's Troy Carricker is working his way through turns 4, 4A, and 5. Now you got to get back lined up because you've got to go back
real quick. That's a tough corner right there to pick up 6 again.
Yes, it is. And the other thing that you'll notice, fans, this track is very flat. There aren't a whole lot of visual references around the Portland International Raceway. It's very difficult to pick out a braking marker just because there's not really much there.
Watch
There's
the wheel right here through 8. Watch that wheel. See how the car's moving on him as he applies throttle? There's a lot of wheel there for a straightaway.
Yes, it is. But what I was getting back to is, Sam, there aren't a lot of visual references here. There's not.
Yeah, you have to learn track visuals instead of markers on the side of the racetrack. You're right.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of drivers struggle with, myself included. I like to pick out a signboard or a crack in the road or something that tells me, hey, brake here. It's almost impossible to do that because there are none of those references here at Portland. Watching Troy Carricker, we do have a bit of a
if you're through the cockpit and looking through the cockpit, a lot of times when I get to tracks like this, I reference a lot of the asphalt, because what you'll see is the darkening of the asphalt will be typically a good braking point for you to reference. The closer you get to the corner, the darker that the line becomes.
It is.
Just where cars are laying down rubber, and so a lot of times I will use that as a reference for myself.
It is. Now the trick to that is, Sam, you got to be careful because that black spot is going to move or change in size during the course of an event. There's the old story about Jean Alesi in his last Formula One race for Jordan. He set his, or in one of his last Formula One races for Jordan, he set his brake marker as a shadow. And as the day wore on, the shadow moved, and he wound up bringing the thing home in a basket. And so,
oh my heavens.
So those stories are plentiful. That has been Troy Carricker's run.
Look at that. P3 for Troy Carricker so far.
Yes, it is. Let's have a look at Matt Sizzler. The 3 birdies machine is out on the course, Sam.
Matt has been on just a roll lately with top 3 finishes, and so he's proved that he's no rookie when he got into this AMA league, and he's wanting to show his medal around here.
There we go. We are joined by luminaries like Mike Rigney. He's in here letting us know that, Sam, Mike's feelings on
hard tops on road
courses. Yeah.
They don't belong. They don't belong, he says.
I think
And
it's
don't even get him started on cup cars on road courses.
you know
Much less Xfinity cars.
Sam, I'm good with one or two. I think having a couple is probably fine. Uh, I'm of the opinion, though, a little bit of lockup there on the right front from the three birdies machine of Matt Sisler. I'm one that says I'm good with one or two for variety. I think traditional stops at Watkins Glen and Sonoma are perfectly fine. If they want to do one more just for variety, rotate around, go to Road America, come here, do some of the other classic road courses that are scattered around the country, that's perfectly fine too. I think any more than that is a little bit of overkill. These cars need to be on ovals. That's their bread and butter. I will not be responding to David Dunwoody taunting me about the Philadelphia Phillies and Atlanta Braves score. Apparently, the Philadelphians are humiliating my Braves currently, and so we're not going to talk about that, Sam. Dunwoody, of course, from suburban Philly, and so he likes to needle his driver about the baseball scores. As is right and just, I suppose, Sam.
Of course.
Watching Matt Sisler here, he's coming down into that.
This is where he blocked him up the last time. Oh, and he overdrove it again. He overdrove that corner one more time.
No lockup for Matt Sisler, but what he did do was drop the wheel off, and I believe that's going to get him a 1X, so this lap may not count for Sisler.
Yeah, it may not time that particular lap, but it looked like he drove in a little too deep on that corner that time.
It was a 117.
Yeah, no lap time scored for Matt Sisler this time, so now Matt's probably going to try and be a little bit more careful so that he can log a lap here.
Yeah, Matt Sisler, he's going to go for another lap number 2.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't. There's plenty of time left in the session. But he probably doesn't want to start in the back either.
No, that time of 117 and a half, it would have put him right around 7th, 8th quick. So,
sure,
I know it's a short field at 16 cars, but you still want to you still want to start ahead of some people, right? You don't want to be shotgun tailing Charlie here. If he can start 7th, he'd rather do that than start 16th. And Matt Sisler, giving it a pretty good ride. He hasn't gone off yet, Sam.
This was the place that he braked way earlier this time. The last 2 times by, that was his trouble turn right there. But he straightened it out, and it looks like he's going to get a timed lap here.
Yes, he will. Here comes Matt Sisler down the front stretch. He's going to bring the 3 birdies machine past. It'll stop the watch a 116.850.
Great lap.
Yeah. 6th quick. Start alongside James Hodgson, and we have no further vehicles on the track. I think everybody who wanted to take time has. David Dunwoody is not going to go back out, it doesn't appear, with 1:34 left. And so here's your starting lineup. Joseph Klein would like to engage in a debate with Mike Rigney about whether stock cars belong on road courses. I'm here for it, Sam. You got the popcorn ready?
Mm-hmm.
I learned a long time.
Caramel coated popcorn.
I learned a long time ago, you do not debate Mike Rigney about anything on any subject. He will beat you in said debate.
There's only been a few times that I've been able to do that and say that it was productive.
We love you, Mike, for certain, sure. But we are less than a minute. Lee Campbell is out on the course, but he has completed his 2 laps already, and so these will not count. That is something that drivers can do, is you can continue to circulate after your 2 laps are complete, just for practice, right, Sam?
Sure. Yep, you sure can, and some drivers will do that. They'll ride out the session, they'll go out early, turn their 2 fast laps, and just stay out on the race course just so they can get a few extra laps of practicing. Because a lot of leagues have a warm-up time between qualifying and race, and so it's not unusual to have drivers that'll stick around out there. They're on the course by themselves in their solo qualifying run.
Yeah, and you might as well. I mean, you might as well hang out and hang out, especially if you're like me and you're not very good at road courses. Every additional lap, Sam, is a boon to you. And so we are now finished.
As a whole, I want to
qualifications.
say that the lap times that we have for this field as a whole, what I've seen in the past for Xfinity leagues and races, this field is pretty quick. This is a good, a solid field for as far as lap times are concerned. I'm really impressed with the guys here at AMA.
Yes, it is. Speaking of that grid, here it is. Sean Roberts is going to grab the pole from Ryan O'Donohue. Ryan said in the chat he biffed lap 1 and he'll start second. Kendall Paul, Joseph Klein, they'll make up row number 2. James Hodgson and Matt Sisler will be 5th and 6th. Troy Carricker, Dylan Godinez, 7th and 8th. Sean Merriman, Justin Osterman will round out the top 10. In 11th, John Hutchins, Lee Campbell will start 12th. Jacob Wilson, 13th. Andrew Gates, 14th. David Dunwoody, 15th. And Jason Heaney will go shotgun on the field. Heaney and Dunwoody
Jason Heaney is actually not in the servers at the moment.
Yeah, he's lit up gray on my screen, and so some people do that. They jump out and come back in. But we'll have a look at Jason Heaney.
Or they may have inadvertently been kicked out just for connection reasons.
That's possible. That's totally possible. Either way,
Joseph Klein, real call out to Joseph Klein. He had a good run going at Chicago street course. He was strong there, and then he and Mr. Excitement got into some really racy scenarios, and so it kind of set Joseph Klein back for the evening. But he was very racy at that road course.
yes, he was. Joseph Klein would be somebody who at this track, I might consider to be a dark horse, Sam.
Oh, I wouldn't question that, especially if these guys up ahead of him get very racy. If you look, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place cars are all within a second of each other there. So we could really, and then the next 4 cars are within a second of each other, and then the next 3 cars are a second within each other. So we could actually see some good racing where the cars are just not spreading out so quickly.
We very well may. Love the shot looking back from the bumper of the what is it? It's a BMW, is it, Sam?
The pace car?
Yeah, you're supposed to know these things.
Let's look at it.
Looks like a BMW M3 to me.
It is a BMW.
It is a BMW. Sharp looking.
Yeah.
Looking.
That split grill. You can't mistake that split grill.
I wonder if it's been filled with blinker fluid for the occasion.
This is the M3. This is the M3 BMW is what this is.
Yeah, I wonder if it's been filled with blinker fluid for the occasion, Sam.
Only right side blinker fluid.
Only right side blinker fluid. Okay. Very good.
Yeah. You can only use right side blinker fluid with a left-handed wrench.
Touche. We were talking about markers. Turn number 10 and turn number 1 are the only 2 corners on the track that actually have those foot markers, as you would describe them. Everywhere else, you just kind of gotta wing it, Sam. But the pace car is
no question. This will be the most crucial part of the race is the starts and the restarts as we head into this precarious and dangerous turn 1 here at Portland.
You wanted to say Pocono, didn't you, Sam? Barney's got the green flag.
I almost said Pocono. I'm a stock car guy. What can I say?
Barney's got
green flag.
Yep, Barney's got it in hand, and away they roar. And we're going to have to get down, dirty, and tight. This is a tight right-hander. O'Donohue and Roberts leaning on each other going through that first chicane.
That was tight, but it was clean, and now they're racing hard off the corner here.
They are racing hard indeed. Ryan O'Donohue going to try to outdrag Sean Roberts into turn number 4.
Ryan is really in a bad spot there. He's in the loose area of the racetrack, and now he's going to lose several positions.
Yes, he is. He went. He kind of went all for nothing there, Sam. He was either gonna have the lead or he was gonna be off in the Toolies. Ryan O'Donoghue cuts some grass in turn number 4 here at Portland, and he will fall back to about 4th.
All in all, a great clean start for these drivers here in turn 1. That was great. Other than Ryan O'Donoghue's little bit miscalculation on the outside there, these guys are going at it.
Yes, they are. We're watching Sean Roberts lead him away from Kendall Paul in second. James Hodgson has moved around Ryan O'Donoghue for third. O'Donoghue now
Joseph
fourth.
Klein with a big off track there.
Yeah, you can tell he goes off again.
He's off again.
And that is very, very slick out there too, Sam. When you get on
these cars are extremely slippery on this racetrack.
They are indeed. Matt Sisler takes the opportunity to get underneath Joseph Klein. Sisler is going to have the 6th spot. Klein will drop to 7th. And Sisler is going to draw a beat on Troy Carricker. Carricker has moved up. He started in the 7th spot. He's moved up to 5th, Sam.
Well, thanks to some misfortune by drivers like Joseph Klein and others, he was very. I liked his wheel in the qualifying. Troy Carricker was strong and steady with his wheel movement, and so maybe he's got a handle on these. Some drivers are really prone to be better at flat tracks. We talk about Mike Rigney. Mike Rigney is probably one of the best flat track drivers I know. I mean, he's Pocono is a great track for him. Gateway is a great track for him. Milwaukee is a great track for him. I don't know how he does it, but flat tracks are a really good track for Mike Rigney.
Ryan O'Donoghue just went past Kendall Paul for second place. So O'Donoghue has atoned for his first lap mistake, and he is going to set down and try to reel in, Sam, the Sean Roberts automobile. But Roberts has already built nearly a 2-second lead over the likes of O'Donoghue, Paul Hodgson, and Carricker.
And there wasn't a lot of disparity between these two drivers in their lap times in practice and qualifying.
There was not. I think there's going to be a fight, but it's probably going to take Ryan O'Donoghue quite a bit of time to reel back in. We're looking at Matt Sisler ducking out on Troy Carricker. This is the best battle on the course. You've got Joseph Klein in the track racer, number 7, lurking behind the 3 birdies machine of Sisler, and then the newly painted blue, black, and white machine of Troy Carricker. But this is the best battle on the course, 5th, 6th, and 7th, Sam.
Well, Joseph Klein's not going away quietly here. He's rattling Matt Sisler here, and he's going to try and make some kind of move. Matt Sisler's going to have to do a little mirror driving, as well as trying to make up ground on Carricker as they go down the long backstretch.
Yes, he is. We'll hop on board Joseph Klein. Sim Magic on that black automobile. Good looking car. Black and gold's a great set of colors, Sam. But you're looking,
they really are.
But you're looking off the roof at Joseph Klein as he gives chase to Matt Sisler and Troy Carricker. Look at Sisler just kind of pop out. He's not close enough.
He's doing the peekaboo that we call it peekaboo here in the South, where he just kind of gets outside of the car in front of him to at least get the car thinking that he's going to try and dive bomb him, or that he's really going to try to drive it deep into the corner and see if he can get him to make a mistake.
Yes, he is. Sam, I thought you boys would have had enough of that peekaboo game by now. Isn't that the line from? Isn't that the line from Robert Duvall?
My first Cup win at Indianapolis was with that move, actually.
Yeah, and what you're doing is you're poking your nose out there. You're letting the guy know you're there, and it's very difficult in a rear view mirror to judge exactly where that car is in relationship to you.
Yeah, it's a blind spot. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see him go there, but you don't really know how close they are. It's a way for that car to force a mistake. Speaking of mistakes, there isn't any mistake happening at the front. Ryan O'Donoghue, though, is catching Sean Roberts and catching him rapidly. Last time through, Roberts minute 16, 377 to a 174 for Ryan O'Donoghue. They are both pulling away from Kendall Paul, but I'm going to keep an eye on O'Donoghue and Roberts, because that's going to go from a warm chase to a hot battle, Sam, here in just about 2 or 3 more laps.
Well, you know the old adage as well as I do, Mark. Ryan can catch him. but passing him is going to be a whole different thing. Now, in some circles, and in old school type mentality, some drivers would feel like, well, if you run me down from 2 seconds back, then if you make your move, I'll let you go. But some drivers aren't like that. They would just as soon race you for the position as long as they can race you.
Yeah, and we'll, it kind of remains to be seen what Sean Roberts is going to do once Ryan O'Donoghue gets there. The last time through, again, O'Donoghue was a couple of tenths quicker. We'll see if Sean Roberts answers back here, coming to get lap number 6 of 75 here in the Rose City 147 for the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series for the AMA. That time through, Ryan O'Donoghue picks up another 10th, 1 minute 16:3:31 for Roberts. It's a 2:30 for Ryan O'Donoghue.
We're again looking on the inside of Troy Carricker as they come through the chicane through turns 1 and 2. It seems like he's getting just Troy's really running the technical section really, really well, and Matt Sisler is those last couple of corners. He gets a great run coming down the front straightaway. So it's kind of balancing out for these drivers, but Matt really made a run at him the last time by.
Yes, he did. And Sisler seems to be a lot more brave on the brakes, Sam, than Troy Carricker. But you're right. Carricker, in this technical section, draws away just enough that he's able to fend off that charge when Sisler makes the move down the inside going into the chicane. The other thing
down here between turns 10 and 12, it seems like that's where Sisler seems to pick up a little bit of ground.
Now here's the thing with making that move down the inside at turn 1, Sam. If you make it down the inside at turn 1, you're on the wrong side for turn number 2. So you got to come back the other way, right? Turn number 1 is a right-hander, turn 2 is a left, turn 3 is a slight right. So if you're on the inside here, you're on the outside there. And the way that corner sets up, it is very difficult to make that pass stick. You almost have to kind of elbow the guy out of the way. And then the other bit is, depending on which side you're on, if you come out of 3 side by side, the car that was on the inside in turn 1, if he can stay there, you almost have to stay side by side getting to turn 4. That's where you complete the pass. It's not within that chicane. Joseph Klein trying everything he knows.
Sisler really dove it in there deep. Oh, he's going to get beside Troy Carricker here.
Yes, he is. They're going to drag race down.
Oh, they're door to door going down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Carricker let him go. Troy Carricker's going to let him go.
Did.
And that's going to cost him because here comes Joseph Klein.
Klein does not have the position here, and he easily backs out.
Yes, he does. So Joseph Klein, well, he drops to the inside. We thought he backed out. He's going to drop to the inside at turn number 12, and we'll see if they can. We'll see them
he gets
race.
Back in the car, but they'll drag race down the front straightaway here.
Well, that's what it's there for. It is a drag strip after all, Sam. Now watch.
That's the reason for my comment.
This is what I was talking about. So Klein is on the wrong side of the road here, and he can't stay even for the time that he needed to be back on the right side of the road, Sam.
Which made that opening salvo between O'Donoghue and Roberts so impressive, is that those two drivers went through that whole chicane area door to door. It wasn't until they got to turn 4 that Ryan O'Donoghue kind of swept out into the gravel on the outside. So it was really impressive that they could drive door to door through that chicane.
Most certainly so. I think that anybody who can go side by side through any corner on a road course, Sam, is doing a pretty doggone good job when compared to the likes of me.
Clearly, you've not seen me run a lot of road courses.
I have not. There's your top 3. Sean Roberts is your leader. And we'll kind of go through the field and give you a close-up view of the drivers now that the action has kind of strung out. There's Joseph Klein. He's in the number 13, an unsponsored Ford Mustang. And there he runs. He has led.
Roberts is starting to pull away from O'Donoghue.
Yeah, he's rebuilt that lead back to about anywhere from a second and a half to 2 seconds, depending on where they're scored on the course. But You're right, Sam. I think O'Donohue might have hurt the tires a little
Used
bit.
up those rear tires. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been losing anywhere from a tenth to 3/10 a lap for the last couple of laps. And speaking of Ryan O'Donohue, there he runs along, Ryan O'Donohue, in the familiar number 14 trimmed white with red today. Kendall Paul in the Storm Tracker 78 machine.
Joseph Klein is trying everything within his power to get around Troy Carricker right here.
Yes, he is. There's James Hodgson in the forward-facing 88. He runs fourth. There's Matt Sizzler in the Three Birdies car in fifth. And we're going to get back to Carricker and Klein because my birdie, the little birdie in my head, which is Sam Crow, tells me that this is starting to heat up. Joseph Klein looks like Richard Petty at Riverside in about the mid 80s. I don't know that car is that car is fully on the course for more than about 3 consecutive corners.
There he goes again.
Yeah.
And he's off again.
There's
you get so when you get behind someone and you feel like you're faster, but you're wanting to race them clean, and you want to make the pass clean. But you still want to move forward. You just get it into your mind. You just start really. It's hard to convince yourself just to be patient, and you start to drive the car a lot harder. You start taking more risks. You start looking at places to pass that you normally wouldn't look to pass. It really can play on your driving psyche, so to speak. Sometimes when you're behind someone and you really want to get by.
Yes, it can. But there's Joseph Klein. He's in seventh while he's rebuilding his pace to get back up to Troy Carricker. We're going to have a look back at the 08 of Dylan Godinez. There's Dylan. He runs by himself. He's in basically his own little world, his own little pocket. He's about
yes, sir.
He's about 4 seconds behind Joseph Klein, and he's got about 7 odd seconds clear of this man, Jacob Wilson. And there's Jacob. We saw him run very well in the Horizon IndyCar Series race yesterday, but there he is. Jacob Wilson runs along in ninth. And then Mr. Excitement, I don't know that we've been through a race this year yet, Sam, where we've been 11 laps and not called the name of Justin Osterman.
It seemed like at Chicago, he had a really good long run pace with his car.
It did.
But again, some tracks are more suited for certain drivers' driving styles. Ooh, and that time Joseph Klein with the first tap on Troy Carricker. But that cost him a lot of time too.
Yes, it has. We'll get in the grandstands and watch this one. There's Carricker, and he is once again about a second ahead of Joseph Klein. Matt Sizzler has reached lap traffic, Sam. And there goes Sizzler through. They're putting a lap on Andrew Gates.
And now we got a battle for the lead here. Ryan O'Donohue has just pulled right up onto the bumper of Sean Roberts.
Yes, he has, and that happened very suddenly. O'Donohue was a second faster the last lap. It was an 18.
Oh, you see what happened is Sean Roberts overdrove turns 10 and 11. He overdrove it entirely too far, almost went completely out into the grass, and that allowed Ryan O'Donohue to make up a whole second there, closing in on him on the front stretch. So just one small miscalculation has turned his lead into a battle for this position.
Yes, it is, and there's Ryan O'Donohue as he runs along. We're going to get up on the roof. Let the fans at home see the telemetry for Ryan O'Donohue. I think O'Donohue might be slightly faster here, Sam. It's just a matter of whether or not he can. It's a matter of whether or not he can make that move and make it decisively so.
I'm still under the impression, despite Sean Roberts' small bobble there, I'm still under the impression that Ryan O'Donoghue may have used up a little more rear tire than he expected. You can really see the back of that car moving around a lot on exit. And so I think that in order to make a good pass, he really needs that rear grip. And I don't think that he has as much as he had at the beginning of the run, just simply because he may have used up so much trying to catch up to Sean Roberts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Sam, we were on board just there with Ryan O'Donoghue, and you can hear the lack of rear grip. It's not a visual thing; it's audible. He goes to get back to the gas, and it just doesn't.
RPMs.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for him. And so O'Donoghue got close, but no cigar. He's gonna fall back to around a half a second or a little bit more behind the automobile of Sean Roberts.
And that's one of the prices that you pay without banking on a road course. When the track is as flat as it is here in Portland, that is one of the things that you really pay the price on is trying to get rear grip and then overutilizing that rear grip. So what's going to happen is, in order to compensate for that, Ryan O'Donoghue is going to have to try and find a way to utilize braking so that he can modulate the throttle coming off a little bit more. So he'll try to close in on Sean Roberts on braking, and then try to change his apexes so that he can make up any ground that he can with worn tires.
Now, speaking of that, you just brought up a great point about changing braking and changing lines and apexes and things like that. Are there tools in the car that these guys can use to maybe say, look, I used up a little bit too much rear tire, I used up a little bit too much front tire in that last run?
The only tools that they can be utilized in instances like that is to change the brake bias, and because you can't make any steering changes, those are the only adjustments you can make and fix setups. Oh, and we see Dunwoody move completely off the racetrack to get out of the way of Sean Roberts, and that's going to allow Ryan O'Donoghue to come by as well. But the brake bias would be the only thing that you can change, and so you may want to add a little bit more front brake to get so that you can drive in a little deeper, or if you're, I don't know that you really want to free the back of the car up on entry when the rear tires are not gripping. So, but you could change it where you can get a little less front brake, and then it'll loosen the car up on entry. But I don't know that would be beneficial at this particular track. You really want to tighten it up and use more brakes so that you can dive in a little deeper and try to get back into the throttle as quick as you can, or back the corners up and leave the brake bias alone and see if that helps as well.
But yeah, that's a great point that you bring up about the brake bias, Sam. That's the only tool that they have, and a lot of people will tell you want to move that back about just as far as you can stand it, but it's really, really easy to go too far. And if you've got the brake bias out of whack, Sam, especially at a track here where you're hard on those brakes a couple, 3 times a lap, it really can overheat those rear tires too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And actually, if you're abusing the way that iRacing works in some regards, is that if you abuse too much front brake, you can actually use up some front tires as well. The heat will get to those tires. And if you watch closely at races that utilize a lot of brake, you can see the rotors glowing in the stem. You can watch the rotors on the front brake glow, depending on how much brake you're using on entry.
Yes, you can. We're watching the battle for the lead. Ryan O'Donoghue is slipping a little bit further away from the number 13 of Sean Roberts, and that's going to be a great chance for us to keep going back through the field a little bit. Right behind Mr. Excitement in 11th, that is Sean
Roberts goes off the track again. This allows Ryan O'Donoghue to go by on the backstretch.
Now, see what happens there, Sam? As soon as I go to take care of some people, this happens. Here's the replay. Roberts.
That was what I was mentioning earlier in the broadcast is the back of this car on that back stretch, it gets extremely light and it can get out from under you really quick.
Yes, it does. Here he is. Normally you would think that turn 8 area would be 8 and 9 would be just as flat out as you can be. In an open wheel car it is, but Sean Roberts kicks the back end loose. Off he goes. Ryan O'Donoghue will assume the lead from Sean Roberts, and there we go. Back to live action, and it's what was once an 0.8 of a second lead for Sean Roberts is now about a 0.7 of a second deficit to the number 14 of Ryan O'Donoghue. Do want to thank everybody for joining us here on the P1 Broadcasting channel for the Blackmagic Studios AMA Grand National Series. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1, be notified of all future iRacing broadcasts. And Sam, we have got a lineup and a half for our fans as Sean Roberts, he wants the lead back, Sam.
Yeah, he doesn't want you to do a commercial break right now. He wants all the attention on the racetrack. Sean Roberts says, I like it out front. I want to be back out front. I gave it to you. I want to take it back. There's a lot of things going on in the helmet of the 13 right now.
Yes, there are. Maybe a little bit of red mist, too. We're going to jump. And not that he's mad at Ryan O'Donoghue. Ryan O'Donoghue
No, by no means.
Yeah,
no.
Ryan O'Donoghue didn't do anything wrong. But more steamed at himself. And there's Sean Roberts looking out the passenger side view. O'Donoghue locks up the right front there.
Ryan O'Donoghue locked up the left front. But he gets a great run off that corner there going into the six.
Yes, he does. One of the things that we haven't talked about today, Sam, is the weather. 70 degrees in the air, 79 on the track. It is just about as picturesque of a day as you could ask for in the simulated.
He gets loose off the corner, and that's going to allow Sean Roberts to close in really close here on the backstretch.
Yeah, here we go, Sam. I think we're about to see it. Roberts does not make the move. I thought for sure he was going to make that.
I did too. Now he's looking inside here. Oh, this is so close. This is great racing between these two drivers.
Now let's see what he does here, Sam. Let's see if Sean Roberts.
See if he gives him a look.
I was about to say, let's see if he sends it up the inside here. Going into the chicane, he does not. Ryan O'Donoghue covered that very well.
With a very aggressive line into one. If you notice, he really uses an aggressive line to go into there.
Yeah.
And their race up front has allowed the 78 machine of Kendall Paul to close in on that particular race. Before the stage, we could actually see a race for the three-car race for the lead.
Yeah, I mean, you most certainly could. I would continue to go back to the field, but Sam, the minute that I cut to Lee Campbell, we're going to have another.
You can go back through the field. I will let you know if anything transpires.
That sounds like a fair deal. We're going to get the 45 of Lee Campbell up. There's Lee. He's making his way through turn 1 through turn 2. Campbell runs along in the 12th spot. Next up is John Hutchins, the 72. He is 13th. And there he is. David Dunwoody drove it down the access road. Drove it down the access road earlier. He tried to find the outhouse, Sam. Didn't quite work, but there he is, and he is sliding now backwards through the first chicane. He does not hit anything, but he will tow. And I think that's universal for. I want to go watch the Phillies game. Dunwoody has towed it. Andrew Gates, looking for Andrew Gates. There he is. Gates in the number 31. That is kind of a modified Bass Pro Shop scheme on that one. But there's Gates, and he will assume 14th now that David Dunwoody has retired from the event, and Gates is going to have the leaders all over him, Sam.
They're catching him at a really good point here, though. It looks like they may be able to get by him on the back stretch if he just moves out of the way. Oh, it's so close. Oh, that's going to open the door for Sean Roberts. It's going to be a door-to-door drive down to turn 10. They are side by side.
Roberts, though, is going to be on the wrong side of the track for this corner. O'Donohue takes the
He may
inside.
try a crossover here.
Awfully.
Oh, he thinks better of sticking it in there. Great decision by Roberts.
Yes, he does, and that was a wonderful move. Now watch O'Donohue's line down here, Sam. He covers off the inside to the
it's
chicane.
so aggressive.
He does. See
He
how
really, and you see the difference between the two drivers in their approach to turn one. Ryan O'Donohue is more of a straight line entry, whereas Sean Roberts is trying to angle for a little bit more run in off and turning the wheel a little bit more. Both these drivers have mastered really how to utilize the curbing and stuff here on the technical portion of the racetrack through turns 3 through 7.
Yes, it is. And Sam, I'm just wondering, Ryan O'Donohue's pretty cool cucumber. That he's not going to fold no matter what the pressure from Roberts is. And I get the feeling too as he slides wide.
He goes off track just as you say that.
He does. And here's Roberts. Roberts
gets the back of the car loose.
Roberts was
got back into the throttle too much and gets loose on the front stretch.
I thought for sure that Roberts.
You can't be watching this. You can't be watching this broadcast and say these drivers don't want it. You just can't. You can't watch this and say, "Oh, they're just out making laps." They're not doing that. These guys are racing for this spot.
They are. We'll jump back on board for Sean Roberts, and we'll let the fans at home see exactly how hard he's working that wheel because it's a shame. It's a shame. I would propose to the series that they implement a white glove rule. Because if we had white gloves on Sean Roberts, that would have been fantastic to see right there. He had the pass made. O'Donohue made the mistake, and Roberts kicked the back end sideways, trying to get to him too early.
Oh, I knew these two drivers, their lap times and their practice times, qual times, everything looked to be so close together, and they are proving that these two drivers are really. O'Donohue goes off way too much this time, and he cedes the lead here to Roberts. He knew there was no way he could race back onto the racetrack and make that up.
No, and that is going to put Sean Roberts back into the lead of this event. Now let's watch Ryan O'Donohue.
He's taking his car back around the halt behind the wall, and he has called it a night.
I suspect there's probably a Philadelphia Phillies game on in that hauler, Sam, and that's what he's gone to do.
He's got to get to the hauler. There's a Philly cheesesteak waiting on him.
Look at the hands for Ryan O'Donohue there. Holy Moses.
I don't know how they're driving the cars this hard with those lap times and just able to keep the car under them. It's really a testament to their driving skill.
It is, especially O'Donohue. Roberts looked a lot more stable. You can tell that O'Donohue's got
got a lot more rear tire left.
Yeah, I was going to say, what rear tire? Ryan O'Donohue doesn't have any of that left. Look at him pedal that car, even down through turns 8 and 9, where it's supposed to be relatively easy and relatively flat. Ryan O'Donohue is having to fight for grip everywhere. And there he goes. See, it's not, I don't think, a lap of grip. He's trying so hard.
Oh, he's off again, and that's going to let Kendall Paul close the gap here for second place. That was a big bobble there.
Well, what he's doing is he's trying to cut that entrance to turn 12, and when he does that, there's a curb on the inside, and if you hit that curb, the car just goes straight, and that's what's sending him.
The car out there, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's causing Ryan O'Donohue to run wide. He's done that twice. If you hit it just right, you can make up a lot of time there, Sam. But if you hit it wrong, it can cost you a bunch of time too. And Ryan O'Donohue has now gone from the lead to a firm second to the clutches of Kendall Paul in 3 laps. That's how quick it can change. And Ryan O'Donohue runs wide down there in turn 6.
Oh,
Kendall
he just
Paul's going to go
allows
through.
Kendall Paul to go here. Yeah, he just pulls over and lets Kendall Paul go on.
Yeah, I think he knows that. Yeah,
The next best battle is between Dylan Godinez and Jacob Wilson back here in 9th and 8th position. Jacob Wilson just made the pass on Dylan Godinez.
yes, it is. Dylan Godinez is going to try to come back and see if he can't go back around Jacob Wilson. And look at how hard Dylan's sliding that car. And Dylan Godinez, this is for the lead, folks. This is for 8th and 9th. They're sliding the cars around like that.
And that's going to allow Sean Merriman to. Sean Merriman is, again, just one of those drivers who seems to save a lot of tire for the end of a run. But we just had the pit lane closed for the stage break. So when Sean Merriman crosses here, it should be the caution.
Here's Godinez. He's leading Merriman. Godinez, hand full of wheel. And there's Merriman. They may have to go one more, Sam. It may be 26.
That's right. The completion of the 25th lap, yeah. So there's a chance that Merriman might be able to get around Godinez here as they battle for this 9th position.
There is indeed. Now, speaking of that, Sean Roberts is about 35 seconds ahead of this battle, and so Roberts, is a half a lap clear here of Godinez and of Wilson and Godinez. Wilson goes around. You see Jacob Wilson going around Andrew Gates. But this is going to be interesting to see if Sean Merriman can make this move, and that is for a stage point as well.
Yep, Andrew Gates does a great job of moving over there. He gets out all the way out into the grass area, but he clearly gets out of the way as they come down to turns 9 through 12.
Yes, he does. Around turn number 12. And this, I believe, should give us the caution, Sam.
Now, it's going to take these drivers, it's going to take them a minute or two to close the ranks here because this battle for 10th alone they're 40 seconds out from the leader.
Yes, they are. Like I said, they were a half a lap down. And there's your leader, Sean Roberts. He's on the backstretch as the 10th place cars, as the 9th and 10th place cars cross the line. And as they cross the line, we are going to pause for these messages from...
Oh, no! Sean Merriman, can he save it? Sean Merriman turned that car into a John Deere lawnmower. That Ford turned into a John Deere.
There he goes. We will be right back with you after these messages from Black Magic Studios. And welcome back to the Portland International Raceway. It's Mark Murphy and Sam Crow. We are under the first stage break at the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Rose City 147 pit stops are complete. There was no real change for position under the caution, other than Matt Sisler jumped past James Hodgson, Jacob Wilson, and Troy Carricker fell down to 8th position on the pit stop exchange. He was in his box 18.8 seconds, which tells me that Troy may have had a little bit of damage to the number 94 machine. Everything's all fixed up now, though, and we are ready to go. Kendall Paul critically is going to be second on this restart. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to roll from third. And Sam, is that an advantage or a disadvantage, do you think, for Ryan O'Donoghue?
Just typically, the third position always seems to be at the advantage of the car on the outside, just simply because when you're in the orientation of the cockpit of the car is that you can't see the leader very well on that inside. So the tendency is unless you just keep strafe looking to the right, it's hard to determine if you're even with that car. Plus, you do not get the best look. You can't look sideways and forward at the same time, so you don't get to see when the leader launches off at the start. The car behind has a clear view of the rear bumper of the leader, and so that third spot can launch that split second that he sees the leader take off, and he can go with him. So it really is a bit of an advantage for the third place car as far as restarts are concerned.
Yeah, it can be, and it's difficult. It's difficult, really, in any racing automobile, to see out your right side like that.
Yes.
It's a little bit easier when they're on the left, but out of the right side, there's not a lot of visibility. You've got roll bars and equipment and so forth over there, and so it's very difficult to judge when that car is going to launch, and so. That's going to be good news, I think, for Ryan O'Donoghue. It's going to be bad news for Kendall Paul, Matt Sisler, and Jacob Wilson. They're lined up on the inside. We'll see if James Hodgson, who's lined up 5th, can take advantage and maybe pick off one of those two machines as we head.
I was going to ask you if Joseph Klein had a damage repair in his pit stop, because Joseph Klein he's all the way at the back of the field now.
Yes, he was. Joseph Klein took a 52-second pit stop, and so that would tell me.
There we go. So he must have had some kind of damage.
Yeah, Andrew Gates also was under repair for a significant amount of time. He was a minute in the pit lane, but he is 2 laps down.
Green flag.
Here we go with the green flag.
Green flag
in the air. Yes, sir.
I really don't expect Kendall Paul to put up a fight here, as we see Ryan O'Donoghue with that aggressive line again.
He's going to put up a fight. He goes to second. James Hodgson and Jacob Wilson, they're going to do battle back here for 5th and 6th. That's Hodgson in the bronze and sky blue number 88 with the snake on the side. He is 5th, and he has a rear view mirror full of Jacob Wilson. Right on
Speaking
board.
of mirrorful, this time Ryan O'Donoghue did not battle Sean Roberts going through the first three corners. He falls in behind him, and now we're going to see if Ryan can be a little more disciplined in this particular segment and this stage, to see if he can spare himself a little bit of rear tire and kind of keep pace with Sean Roberts.
Very, very true, Sam. I think Ryan O'Donoghue, as I said before, I think he's got a little bit more in terms of raw pace, but he's got to figure out how to run it without melting the tires. If he can do that, he might be in pretty good shape, but he can't fall too far back because Kendall Paul is right there, and Matt Sisler has broken away from the battle for 5th between Hodgson and Wilson. Wilson makes the dive to the inside in turn 1, but again, wrong side of the road. Can't quite make it stick, Sam.
Well, it's not for a lack of trying, that's for sure. He's looking at every opportunity that he may have to try and get around James Hodgson here. But Hodgson has been steady all night long. He's been running in this particular spot the entire evening. And he's he's very methodical. James is always very methodical, and he's always good about hitting his marks and equaling his lap times. He's just he's a very steady racer. James Hodgson is.
Yes, he is. How do you? And I know that better than anybody. I trust him to drive my endurance car while I'm asleep.
Well, you can't get more of a bill of approval than that, Mark.
Do want to thank everybody for joining us here in the Blackmagic Studios AMA Grand National Series. If you haven't already done it,
we got a spinner. Justin Osterman comes off of turn 12. Oh, in front of the field there. It looks like everyone's going to miss him.
Everybody is going to miss Mr. Excitement, but he takes a wild loop around in turn number 12. Let's see what we've got for Justin Osterman. He was off back at turn number 10, Sam, in front of Joseph Klein. And remember, these two have a bit of history. Here's Osterman. Osterman's going to run it wide. He's going to run out into the grass. He gasses it up, and he hit the gas while he was on the curb, and it just goes straight around with him, Sam.
And you'd be surprised how quickly a tire can cool off running through the grass, too. It's very true. And then he runs off there again, and that just sets the car in motion to spin out. Ooh, Dylan Godinez just misses him.
Yeah, that could have been a bad scene. Thankfully, Osterman was further enough back in the field that he didn't have to be missed by too many cars. So Osterman's going to take a time penalty. He doesn't really lose all that much in terms of position. He only lost 3 or 4 spots, but he is going to lose about 10 seconds on the field here. We're watching the battle between James Hodgson and Jacob Wilson. That is the closest fight for position on the course. They've got Sean Merriman in attendance there as well. Troy Carricker,
yeah, all 4 of those cars were very, very relatively close in their battle.
Yeah, Carricker is right there too. So a four-way battle for 5th here, we're going to call it. Matt Sisler is steadily advancing on Kendall Paul. Sean Roberts is steadily opening the gap on Ryan O'Donoghue. So this is the best race on the track at the moment.
As they went to the first stage break, and Ryan O'Donoghue, there was some communication within the server, and Ryan O'Donoghue was actually apologizing, just saying that he was just losing a little bit of focus and a little bit of grip there at the end of the stage, and he wished that he could be a little bit more competition for Sean. And so he may be rethinking this stage to see how he might be more competitive in the closing parts of this race.
Maybe so, and that's something that does get trying and tiring, especially at a track like this. It requires a ton of focus, Sam,
It really does.
To be able to run this place effectively. And if you lose your concentration for just a little bit.
Oh, and now Ryan O'Donoghue goes off in the chicane. Oh, no. He tried that line. He was closing in on Sean Roberts, and he tried that aggressive line into 1 and just loses the back of the car. Wow. And that's going to send him all the way back into 9th place.
Yeah, there it is. He catches that curb with that aggressive line just a little bit wrong. And much like Justin Osterman, it shoots it straight sideways. Fortunately for Ryan O'Donoghue, he doesn't hit anything. It just, again, it's a matter of time and track position. It's going to drop him back to 8th, and he is in the clutches of Joseph Klein. And no doubt the tires, if we thought that they were bad coming off of that car at the end of the first
angry.
stage.
Yeah,
they're
not only did he gas it up when he was spinning, but he lit the tires up so that he could reorient the car. And so I'm sure those rear tires are screaming right now on these laps after that.
Yeah, they're not. Ryan O'Donoghue's Goodyears are not happy with him at the moment. Matt Sisler's seem to be doing fine though. James Hodgson has pulled away from Jacob Wilson a little bit, and Matt Sisler has pulled into the trunk of Kendall Paul. Sizzler is right there to battle for second.
This will be the shorter of the stages, so some of these drivers may very well be pushing the car a little bit harder in this particular stage because of how short it is. They will not run the full 25 laps like they did in the first stage.
Yeah, and that's something with stage racing you have to be cognizant of as you plan your strategy. There are 4 caution laps to open up stages 2 and 3. So really, they're not 25 laps; they're more like 20. So you can push the car a lot harder in those stages, in the second and third stage, than you can in the first, simply because they're really you're short 4 green flag laps.
Yeah, and now we see Sean Merriman lose it into the chicane as well, and he'll spin out just ahead of Troy Carricker, and his spin actually is very uncommon. The way that I think that was from an overcorrection there. As he was going through the chicane, he actually spins in the opposite direction coming off of where Ryan O'Donoghue spun. I think maybe the back of the car started to come around on him. He overdrove it a little bit and then spins it in the opposite direction.
They landed in about the same spot, just opposite directions.
Yes, sir, they did.
I think that looked a lot like wheel hop to me getting in there, Sam. Just downshifted a little bit too fast, and around the car for Sean Merriman went. Ryan O'Donoghue, by the way, has made it back up to 6th spot. He has passed Joseph Klein and Troy Carricker, and so with the spin from Merriman, that'll move O'Donoghue back to 6th. He's going to look to get up to Jacob Wilson here, but he's got some work to do. About 2.5 seconds to get to Wilson. This last time through, Jacob Wilson runs a lap at a minute.
Well, actually, Merriman actually falls back all the way to 10th.
Yes, he does.
He's just ahead of Lee Campbell.
Yeah, and he had been running ahead of this group, so.
Right. He was well ahead of this group.
Yeah, so tough.
He was in the tire tracks of Jacob Wilson when that occurred.
Yes, he most certainly was. But there's O'Donoghue as he continues his march back up through the field. The battle between Jacob Wilson and James Hodgson continues to rage. There they are, and Matt Sizzler continues to pour all over the rear of Kendall Paul.
Now, if you've got a fast car like Ryan O'Donoghue, you know that there's a stage break coming up. You just want to kind of gather yourself together, rethink, and learn what you can do in this particular stage just to make up a little ground and just try to figure out where you can save tire and make better decisions for the last stage. He's clearly got a fast car. It's just going to be a matter of how he's going to learn from that mistake.
Yes, it is.
Same thing with Sean Merriman, absolutely.
Now, the pit lane delta here, we were kind of talking about that alternate strategy, stop before the stage, stop before the stage, or the pits closed for the stage. It's about
Dylan Godinez actually goes into the pit lane, or is that no? That's Andrew Gates, I believe. That's in the pit lane.
That's Andrew Gates. It's about a 45-second delta to come down pit road. The lap time here, a minute 16, minute 17 for the leaders, and so Ryan O'Donoghue might be in prime position if he wants to gain that track position back. Come down one lap before the pits close in the stage. Take your tires, take your fuel, come back out. He would then have the lead headed for the final stage, and we'll see if he indeed does elect to do that here at the Rose City 147.
I'm very surprised this year that we just haven't seen many drivers do that. We just have not seen drivers try to play the stages to their advantage, or at least to try and make it's been few and far between that we've seen drivers actually try to gain track position by utilizing the stage breaks.
Well, and that's something that you have to take into consideration. That's what I'd do, Sam, if I were Ryan. He has nothing to lose at this point.
No, because if he comes in and just stays ahead of the leaders, and of course he's getting into a precarious little spot here. I mean, he's 11, almost 12 seconds back of Sean Roberts. Is that if he's not careful, he may pit and fall. Excuse me, fall victim to Sean Roberts as he may catch him. But if you pit and stay ahead of the leader, you might be able to save enough tire that you can be competitive for that final run. But if you got lapped, you would still be the lucky dog candidate. But we'll see if Fernando Donahue can. It looks like he's closing on this pack ahead of him.
Yes, indeed he is. He's closing in on Jacob Wilson. He is losing time to Sean Roberts, though. Roberts and Kendall Paul are the only two cars on the racetrack right now, Sam, as we watch Matt Sisler. Sisler has fallen back in his pursuit of Kendall Paul. Right now, Roberts and Paul are the only two cars in the minute 16 bracket. Sisler is at 117 flat. Everybody else, although Ryan O'Donoghue makes a liar out of me and runs...
Yeah, he just turns a 116.8.
Yeah, he makes a liar out of me, but... and so does Joseph Klein, for that matter. But everybody else had consistently been in the 117 bracket. Consistently so. The best battle for position on the speedway is James Hodgson fourth, Jacob Wilson in fifth. And they've been going at it, Sam, hammer and tong now for about the last 10 laps.
Well, ever since the restart, Jacob Wilson has been driving in the tire tracks of James Hodgson. And but now they have steadily been able to keep pace with Matt Sisler ahead of them. And if you're making up time on the leaders, by all means, just see if you can ride there. If you're Jacob Wilson, ride there and see where it takes you, instead of trying to take a risk and trying to make a precarious pass and then put yourself in jeopardy of getting taken out or losing a astronomical amount of time. Just get in line, run good laps, clean laps, wait for the stage, and put yourself in a good spot for the last 20-something laps of the race.
Most certainly so. The last time through, the only car in the 116 bracket, that was Sean Roberts. Everybody else in the mid-17s or slower. So Roberts continues to lead it. We continue to watch the battle between James Hodgson in fourth and Jacob Wilson in the 51 in sixth. Or, excuse me, yes.
Justin Osterman is taking the car behind. That's a rare thing for Justin Osterman to take that car behind the wall and call it a night.
Yes, it is. But, Sam, if you're out here, you've got to win like Justin Osterman does. You're in the playoffs. I could see if, David Dunwoody texted me privately and said, look, he didn't own the track until today. It's not fun. He doesn't want to hurt anybody else's chances. He's got the points for starting. He's gonna park it. The same thing might apply for Justin Osterman. You know what I mean? If you're not having fun and you're in the playoff already, Sam, I'm not a fan of doing that, but I can understand why somebody would.
Oh no, there's no wounded pride for doing something like that, especially if you feel like you're having a bad night and you just don't want to torment yourself or add to that.
Speaking of torment, I understand that the Onyx Racing League is going to be occupying our Monday nights soon here on P1. They're going to be doing Lotus 79, Sam. I'm almost sorry that I'm not going to be able to run the first part of that season.
The retro cars. I remember running the retro series in Lionheart. Those cars are different. They are
a ton of fun. I'm almost sorry I'm going to miss the first several races just because it conflicts with our IndyCar Open top split broadcast on Monday night. But once the time change hits and we lose that hour, Sam, I'll be able to tee it up.
Sounds like a threat.
I'll be able to go in the 50-year-old Grand Prix cars, and won't that be fun?
Well, I know I saw your rear wing many, many times in the L79 series, the retro series that we ran.
Boy, I need to get some new fun slogans paint on it. Like you and Greg Evans, you guys have "I am second." For a long time in the IR18, I had "High Clindy" painted on my rear wing, and then he started beating me. So I got to figure out something else.
I thought James Hodgson's tailgate in the AMA Archway Industrial Truck Series was amazing with the two curmudgeons from the Muppets on the tailgate. Oh, I just loved the tailgate of his truck. It was great during the Richmond event. It was really fun.
The cartoon race. Those guys had a lot of fun with those paint schemes, and you're looking out the windshield of Jacob Wilson, at James Hodgson, and that's a pretty good looking. I
love his paint. Some of his liveries are just amazing, really, honestly. Even his tribute liveries to his father and his grandfather in their service in the Royal Air Force. I mean, those oh, and no! James Hodgson goes way off the racetrack, and he will succeed that position to Jacob Wilson through turn 12, and that allows Ryan O'Donoghue to close in.
Yes,
I think that's the first mistake I've seen him make all night. He cut that one. He cut turn 11 off way too much.
Yes, he did, and that's kind of what befell Ryan O'Donoghue down at turn 1, and that's going to let O'Donoghue close right in on James Hodgson, and here comes the 14, and he's going to try to make up one more spot. He is 12 seconds back, so he is well within. He's well within range, we think, of being able to make that pit stop, Sam, and not lose a lap.
Oh, it's just going to be interesting to see if any drivers are going to take advantage of that particular instance where they feel like that they can make up a lot of track position and start up at the front of this field for the last stage. Andrew Gates is, though we saw him on pit lane, he is now taking his car back behind the wall, and he has called it a night. Andrew Gates, not Gates. Ryan O'Donoghue all over the back of the 88 of James Hodgson this time as they come down the back stretch through turn 8.
Now I wonder if Ryan will give the whoa, he power slides. I was going to say I wonder if O'Donoghue will give him a friendly tap going down the front straight. And as soon as I got ready to tee those words up, Sam, Ryan O'Donoghue goes drifting through turn 12. Looked like he was in a Formula D car there.
Formula D.
That's a thing, man. They run those out on the West Coast.
I know. I've never seen those cars that out of shape.
They are a sight to behold. I don't think I can quite get behind it as a motorsport, just because anything involving a car shouldn't have figure skating style scoring to it. But what the East German judge says has nothing to do with how talented you are with a wheel in your hand, right?
If there was still in East Germany.
That was always the running gag for those of you who don't know or maybe a little bit younger. Back in the day in the Olympics, during the Cold War, they had to have a set number of judges from the Communist bloc and a set number of judges from the Western bloc or the American bloc, and then they would have one from a neutral country. And in figure skating, they would throw out the lowest and the highest score. And so whenever there was an American or a Western skater on the ice, 7 was the highest score. And so you would hear 6.9, 6.9, 6.9, and then the East German judge would give it like a 6.5, right?
or 5.9.
Right, or something just absurdly low, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the joke is it was a 7, but it was only a 6.5 from the East German judge. Right? You knew you were really good if you got a good score from the East Germans. Anyway,
but every once in a while the Western judges would reciprocate in kind.
Yeah, especially like if you were talking about gold medals and stuff like that, the Western judges would definitely do the same thing. But there were no. The other thing was there was never an American judge or a Soviet judge, so it was like it was the East Germans and the Mexicans doing it to each other, right? Or Italians or whatever,
Or the British,
or the Brits or the Australians. But it was never the two main protagonists. It was their friends and allies that were doing so. We've gotten off track. We were talking about East Germans, and now we're going to go back to the car race at hand. James Hodgson is 5th. Ryan O'Donoghue is 6th. O'Donoghue has not been able to make up a ton of ground on Hodgson, and now he's fallen 14 seconds.
I don't think that he's really been pushing the issue with James Hodgson here. I think that he's riding at this particular point. Could we actually see if he's going to, he's losing so much time now. He's 14 seconds back of the leader, but has he lost enough time that he will not be able to make up that differential to get fresh tires at the stage? If he's going to do that, he's going to have to do that within the next lap.
Yeah, he's going to have to come. I think he's going to have to come this time, either this time or at latest next. Yeah, because they're going to come. They're going to come to get lap 48 this time by. So Donoghue's really only got one more lap to make that decision.
And then he has, really, this is the lap he needs to do it, because Roberts has got such a big lead. The pits will be closed by the time he got to. Once he takes the line for that 50. Oh, and Ryan O'Donoghue drives it deep in on James Hodgson and gets into him there in turn 1. That line again, and Hodgson's having a hard time getting the car rightened up, just simply because the tires are so hot. O'Donoghue profusely apologizes to Hodgson. It's just a different line that he takes there, and he drove it in so deep, he just got into the rear of Hodgson there. And that'll send James Hodgson back.
O'Donoghue's not done, though. Joseph Klein has gotten past Ryan O'Donoghue, and O'Donoghue just made a wicked late braking move into turn 6. Troy Carricker is going to go past Ryan O'Donoghue now, and I think the 14's got a problem in him.
I wonder if Ryan O'Donoghue is just not backing up to James Hodgson here. This might be a gentleman's agreement.
It could be indeed.
It could very well be a gentleman's agreement that that Ryan O'Donoghue just feels bad about the contact, and he's just backing up to James Hodgson here so that he can regain the position. Both these drivers have given up 7 seconds to the leader on this particular incident, and Hodgson is closing in fast here on O'Donoghue.
Yes, he is.
Ryan really is a class act. I like Ryan O'Donoghue a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's just kind of keeping a little slower pace here to allow James Hodgson to get at least one spot back in front of him.
And that may very well be. There's the 14 of Ryan O'Donoghue, and we'll see if that does take place. Meanwhile, Sean Roberts is just about to come get the start of lap 50. So the stage here is one lap away from being over.
Well, 1 lap and a half, because 10th place is now 36 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, Lee Campbell is in 10th. Matt Sisler has fallen back to 11th, and that is because Matt Sisler. Guess what Matt Sisler did, Sam?
Did he take the gamble?
Matt Sisler went to the casino and rolled the dice. He came and got his 4 tires, and there is the 3 birdies machine. And he came back.
Just as I predicted, Ryan O'Donoghue lets James Hodgson go back around him, and now it's just some drivers just have that kind of they just have those kind of morals in racing, and Ryan felt like that he misjudged that, cost James a couple of spots, and so he backed up to James to allow him to get back around him. And I
applaud that for sure.
A lot of props to Ryan O'Donoghue for doing such a gentlemanly act there. You just don't see that in racing a whole lot anymore. It's that old school um, gentleman's agreement, just where they might do that. You just it's very rare that you see those kind of gestures and acts of kindness.
It's very true. There goes Sean Roberts through. He is going to complete the stage. The battle is back here. Dylan Godinez and Lee Campbell, they are in a fight for 9th and 10th. This will end the stage here. Once we have the end of the stage, we'll pause for some messages from Black Magic Studios, and then we will
Godinez overdrives the corner. He's through the grass. Can he save it? Yes, he can, but he'll get a penalty there for cutting. Oh,
well, if Lee Campbell doesn't go off.
Both drivers really fighting for that last spot.
Yes, they were. Both of them went off in the final 3 corners. It's going to be Dylan Godinez prevailing over Lee Campbell. And there is the caution. Sean Roberts is going to be your winner for Stage 2. And we will return after these messages from Black Magic Studios. Welcome back to the AMA Blackmagic Studios Rose City 147. We have a new leader after the pit stops have cycled through. That's going to be Matt Sizzler. He stopped before the stage break, Sam. He will assume the lead from Sean Roberts. Roberts is going to be in an unfamiliar position with an unfamiliar foe. He's led most of the race fairly easily, but now he's going to be on the back foot with Matt Sizzler in the Three Birdies Chevrolet in the lead. Roberts is second. Jacob Wilson will line up third. Kendall Paul fourth. James Hodgson fifth. And Troy Carricker is going to be sixth. Ryan O'Donohue sat on pit lane an extra 5 seconds to fix some damage. He is going to restart in 10th.
I think the admins are trying to get a little bit different lineup here for the drivers through the technical portion to line up a little differently, so that they don't have to go through the technical portions so bunched up. So I'm going to see what this how they're going to configure these drivers. It's not going to change the starting lineup. I'm just curious as to what the administration is trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to form up here on the backstretch essentially. You see Sean Roberts pull up on the outside of Matt Sizzler there. A good move, especially through the festival curves. Those can get kind of tight, and you don't really want to have guys running over each other under caution, especially if you can't help it. We see that happen at tight road courses in Indy cars, for example, all the time. If there's a restart or on starts rather, you don't really line up until you have to, Sam.
Quite a few drivers that have stayed into this race here. We only have 4 drivers that are no longer in the event.
Well, 3. Gates, Osterman, and Dunwoody have retired. They're 13th, 14th.
And Heaney did not start the event, correct?
Right, Heaney didn't start. John Hutchins is the only car lap down, so 11 remain on the lead lap as Barney is going to throw the green flag back at him. We're going to have 21 laps to decide it here at the Rose City 147 for the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. We're back under the green flag.
Oh, James Hodgson locks him up going into 1.
We're going to see if Sean Roberts is able to make this move stick on Matt Sizzler. They're going to bang doors
it's not
going
going to
in.
be without a lack of trying here. Now, this is where Ryan O'Donohue swung out way too wide and got out into the loose stuff, but it looks like Sean Roberts is going to be able to race Matt Sizzler. Oh, and now he backs out a little bit more wisely. He doesn't have the grip on the outside.
Yeah, and that's just a product of being on the wrong side of the track there, headed for the festival curves. He's just not quite able to make that move stick. James Hodgson does a tremendous job. He gets himself back up into 4th position, drops Kendall Paul back to 5th, and Jacob Wilson is going to run 3rd as they snake down the backstretch. Sean Roberts is going to try to line up Matt Sizzler one more time. Can't quite get it done going into turn number 10.
Man, kudos to Dylan Godinez, who has now worked his way up to the 7th spot. And what a great drive for Dylan to be up there where he's racing at the moment.
Make that 6th. He got by Troy Carricker as well.
Nice. Great drive. Oh, here we go. Sean Roberts with a look on inside of Matt Sizzler as they go into turn 1. It looks like he's going to have position. Matt Sizzler's going to secede this spot, and he's going to fall in line behind Sean Roberts, and that's going to open the door for Jacob Wilson to close in.
Yes, it is. Sean Roberts will reassume the lead. Matt Sizzler is going to drop to 2nd. Jacob Wilson remains in 3rd. And Sam, you got to kind of think Sizzler might have known, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep the lead here. It'd be nice if I could. I'm going to fight for it. It'd be nice if I can keep the lead.
Well, he's the only other driver outside of Ryan O'Donohue who can say that he's actually led a lap tonight.
Right, but I mean, you're thinking your Sizzler. I mean, he came in when he started that. When he came in on that strategy, he was 5th, and so 4th or 5th. Yeah, so
okay.
If he picks up a couple of spots, it's worth it, right? Matt Sizzler runs along in 2nd. The front 4 are now kind of equidistant and starting to string out just a little bit. The battle is back this way. That's Dylan Godinez. He is 6th. He's trying to draw a beat on Kendall Paul in 5th.
And I do have a little update on Rhino Donahue. Rhino Donahue, when the stage break came on, of course, James Hodgson was just really appreciative that Rhino Donahue would really extend that gesture of letting him get back around him at the closing part of the second stage. But Rhino Donahue actually said in that conversation that he is actually feeling very ill right now, and he's just trying to finish the event. He's not feeling well at all.
And that can happen too. I can tell you there is some sort of a bug going around. It's invaded my house. My wonderful wife Natalie. We celebrated 14th anniversary yesterday, Sam, and she spent the day she spent the day on the couch with a nasty sinus infection. So, poor girl. She's been watching some British TV show. So I don't know what that is, but she's been binging Netflix the last couple of days.
John Hutchins, who just went a lap down, has called it a night as well, and so now he is taking his car behind the wall and gotten out of that number 72 machine.
Yeah, and that could be just look. I know I'm not going to make any more progress here. I might as well stay out of everybody's way. James Hodgson got really loose coming off of turn number 12. Kendall Paul cut James a lot of slack right there, and this is the best battle on the course. You're looking at Jacob Wilson 3rd, Hodgson 4th, and Kendall Paul in 5th. Sean Roberts, you can see the gap visually beginning to grow. It's 1.8, 1.9 seconds over Matt Sisler, with Jacob Wilson 3rd, Hodgson 4th, and Kendall Paul in 5th.
A good battle here from second on back. It's really it's going to be contested even up into the closing parts of this stage, because you wonder who behind Sisler would consider themselves faster, but Sisler can hold a steady wheel, and he's going to race for these positions, because anything you give up here, it's more than likely that you won't get it back.
Yeah, I mean that's very, very, very true. You see guys, you see Kendall Paul there. He ran very wide, getting into turn number 12, just trying anything he can to get himself up there and get past James Hodgson. Every position is important when you talk about points and playoffs and season-ending deals, and we're getting ready to get to that time of the hour. There is only one more regular season race left in the regular season. We go to the round of 12 on September 11th at Bristol, and so you've got Gateway next week, and then Bristol is going to begin the playoff here, and you want to be ready for that, Sam.
Well, of course you want to be ready for that. That's where excuse the pun, that's where the rubber hits the road for these playoff drivers. Jacob Wilson has really just fought to get himself up here, and he's going to pester the 35 of Matt Sisler for the remainder of this. Oh, and just as I say that, he gets off track.
Yeah, and
this is going to be a great battle. I can see it right now.
It most certainly is. I don't think the win is in doubt. Sean Roberts has extended his lead now to 3.1 seconds over Matt Sisler. Jacob Wilson is 3rd, James Hodgson 4th, Kendall Paul 5th. As we watch it, this is, again, the best battle on the track. And it's an interesting one because Sisler has used strategy to vault himself ahead of Wilson, Hodgson, and Paul. Is he going to Is he going to be able to keep that spot, Sam?
Oh, that's a great question. But as I alluded to just a couple of laps ago, I think that Matt Sisler is one that will race these guys as hard as he can race them to maintain that. Seeing how he came in so late in the season anyway. Does he meet the race minimum for playoff?
Now that's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that, and that would be up to Kendall Paul. Maybe
No! James Hodgson gets in the back of Jacob Wilson. They go careening off the racetrack in 11
hard
12.
contact from Joseph Klein into James Hodgson.
Oh, my heavens. Oh, that really... I think that ended Joseph Klein's night right there. Oh, what an impact that was.
Yeah, that was a hard shot.
That was catastrophic for the 7.
Yes, it was.
He goes straight to the pit lane. He does not pass go. He does not collect $200. He is definitely in the community chest now.
Yes, he is. We're going to get on the roll bar and watch this from James Hodgson. The poll in the chat, is the Sizzler strategy going to pay off? He was 5th when he made that move to come to pit road. Is he going to finish better than that? That situation just got a huge boost with the accident between James Hodgson and wow, what an impact from Joseph Klein. We're going to get back and have a look at it from James Hodgson's perspective. And you're right, Sam. He overcooks it, gets down in there really hard, and he and Jacob Wilson, they're going to have a spin. Kendall Paul just dodges that. Dylan Godinez goes by. Joseph Klein just guessed wrong and hard into the side of James Hodgson. Joseph Klein has retired.
And in all fairness, where James Hodgson is spun out right here, James Hodgson is trying to get off the racetrack and out of the racing line. It's not like James Hodgson did anything egregious or tried to get into the line of someone trying to pass him. He's in the middle of the racetrack, and he's headed straight to the grass to get out of the racing line. The racing line is out behind him. And Joseph Klein, like you said so well, Mark, he took a calculated risk and turned down to the bottom. And James was trying to get off the track there, and they met, and just that terrible impact there, ending Joseph Klein's night.
Yes, he did. Ryan O'Donoghue makes the move down underneath, and we'll go through Troy Carricker. So O'Donoghue is going to move back into the 6th spot. So that's paying off. That's a nice run back up through the field for him. Remember, he was 10th at the stage restart as we come. We've got 13 laps to go here in the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series with the AMA. I'm Mark Murphy, joined by Sam Crow. And if you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting channel, be notified of all future iRacing broadcasts. We may not be in doubt as to the winner here, but the final positions in this top 5 are not decided. Ryan O'Donoghue is all over the back of Dylan Godinez for 5th.
And for somebody that's not feeling well, and he's just going to ride this thing out, it looks like he's going to try and salvage the best finish that he can salvage tonight. He's going to race Dylan Godinez, and Ryan O'Donoghue is probably the epitome of racer here tonight, just considering how fast he was, racing so hard for the lead. And then as the race gone on, just get more ill feeling as we get to the closing stages here.
Yes, he is. And you don't feel good. Sometimes the best cure for that's a fast car and gaining positions and, having something to concentrate on. He is all over the back of Dylan Godinez. Godinez snaps it loose off of turn number 12.
Sure does.
O'Donoghue dirt tracks it off the corner, though. Ryan O'Donoghue has a great run coming down the front, and he's going to make that very shallow entry into turn number 1. And there he goes. Troy Carricker thought about following it, couldn't make it.
What a great job by Godinez to close that space and stay in front of Carricker and hold the next position. That was a great job by the 08 there.
Yes, it was. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to move into the top 5, and now Dylan Godinez is going to fall into the clutches of Troy Carricker. Carricker, he'll look underneath going through the turn the turn 5 and 6 complex. The right-hander at turn 7 is going to favor Dylan Godinez. Carricker can't quite keep it even, Sam.
I think this is a tremendous late run for Dylan Godinez tonight. He seemed to be mired up around the 10th position, and so just fortune has smiled on him. And then, of course, he's run some clean racing and allowed himself to be racing close to the 5th position. And so I think it's a great run for him, and it's really shaping up to be quite a battle from 6th place back to 10th.
Most certainly so. Carricker going to take one more run at Dylan Godinez. Can't quite get there, Sam. Just can't quite get there. And they've got Lee Campbell in 8th and Sean Merriman in 9th.
Oh, Roy Carricker with a really aggressive move there.
But see, he can't get to the inside. You've got to get to the inside by turn 4, because if you don't, it's very difficult to make a move stick up here in this technical 5, 6, 7 area.
Yes, sir. And it's just very little passing going down the back stretch and going into turn 10. It's very, very difficult to do that with the cars at speed. Because if you overbrake and overcook it going into 10, you could really cause yourself a lot of problems, or you could take the guy out that you're racing with.
You can take yourself out,
too.
too.
Distinctive lines, yeah.
Take yourself out, too. You want to be very careful through this piece. Your best passing opportunity, set it up with turn 12 and get the rocket down. And
I don't know what happened there. It looked like maybe Godinez actually locked up just a hair, and Carricker drove it in a little deep, and so that really cost Troy Carricker a couple of positions as he gathers the car back up and falls back to 10th spot. Now Lee Campbell will be the next car to challenge the 08 of Dylan Godinez.
He will indeed. Speaking of challenges, Kendall Paul has pulled right up on the back of the number 35 Three Birdies machine. Sean Roberts is 7.5 seconds up the road, so the lead is not in doubt. It's going to be a battle for second between Sizzler and Paul, assuming, of course, that Sean Roberts keeps it on the road. And we've seen him at least once tonight make a mistake, Sam, that cost him quite a bit of time. So
this is true.
That's the caveat here. You have the poll in the chat. Is the Sizzler strategy gonna pay off? Right now, pretty much everybody says that it is. Remember, he started when he came into pit lane. He was 5th.
It's off the track just as we say that, and Kendall Paul closes the gap to even more.
We've got to stop talking about people, Sam. They're going to be side by side here coming down the front straightaway. Kendall Paul's going to duck back. We've got to stop talking. Every time we cut to somebody and say, man.
Oh, keep talking, Mark. Keep talking. It makes it interesting.
Every time we get somebody that said, man, that guy's doing a pretty good job. Sam immediately interrupts me with, and they're off the course.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Broadcasters curse, right? Maybe I need to start knocking on wood every time we cut to somebody. But there's Sizzler leading Kendall Paul for second spot again. Sean Roberts, the lead continues to expand, 8.5 seconds now. He was a full second quicker than the rest of the field the last time through, with the exception of Ryan O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue is actually quicker than the leader. The problem for Ryan O'Donoghue is tenths are not going to help him. He's 13 seconds behind. He is 13 seconds behind Sean Roberts at the moment.
Well, if he's just riding, I would love to have his pace and stick with me feeling well.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of fact in that regard, because Ryan O'Donoghue's got great pace considering if he's not feeling well, but he's closing the gap on Jacob Wilson, and he may very well, with still a lot of racing left here, he could still very well catch Jacob Wilson for 4th spot. Oh, Kendall Paul dirt tracking it into turn 1.
He had that car.
That's going to make.
And Jacob Wilson spun out behind him.
Spins out.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson spun out behind him. That's going to let Ryan O'Donoghue in. It's going to let Ryan O'Donoghue through for 4th. Kendall Paul wheel hopped it, got it straightened up, and you do that by letting off the brake. Jacob Wilson wheel hopped it, and it did not straighten up. He's going to spin through the chicane, through turn one, and there goes Ryan O'Donoghue into fourth position. So not feeling well, still pretty fast. Ryan O'Donoghue gets through, and he is fourth. And now the question becomes, is Ryan O'Donoghue going to be able to make up enough time to get into that battle with Kendall Paul and Matt Sisler? He's got about 3.2 seconds left. He's about half a second a lap quicker, and he's got 8 laps to do it, 7 this time by.
There's still a little bit of cushion with Jacob Wilson. Even though he spun, he only netted 1 position loss there. He's still in 5th spot. Dylan Godinez is going to be several seconds behind him. And if we look carefully, you'll see where Troy Carricker, despite that miscue earlier a few laps back when he was racing with Dylan Godinez, he is actually catching him again to try and make this pass for the 6th spot.
Yeah, it's not he's catching him. He's there now. Troy Carricker is within 0.4 of a second. Sean Merriman in the background has gone past Lee Campbell, so moved Merriman to 8th, Campbell to 9th. Jacob Wilson is not too far up the road from the Godinez-Carricker battle either, Sam. They're within a couple of seconds of Jacob Wilson, so one more misstep out of Jacob Wilson, and he could find himself.
Oh, there he goes off the track as you say that.
Yeah,
left side tires off into the grass.
He can wind up in some serious trouble, but in terms of position. But this is going to be the fight. It's going to be Godinez versus Carricker. Godinez versus Carricker, Matt Sisler versus Kendall Paul, and maybe Ryan O'Donoghue. So those are the 2 battles we're going to follow. Sisler in second, Kendall Paul in third. They're going to work their way down to turn 1. And Matt Sisler does the thing, right? He pulls the car over a lane and a half to the left, to the right, saying if you're going to make that move down the inside, you're going to have to do it with a really, really awful angle into the corner. Kendall Paul will stay third momentarily, but this fight is not over, Sam.
No, sir. And actually, Troy Carricker, as you were going through all of that, Troy Carricker makes a big dive into turn 1 and gets underneath the 08 of Dylan Godinez, and he will take over the 5th spot and try to see if he can't close that gap to Jacob Wilson. And so now Dylan Godinez falls back to 6th.
7th, rather.
Actually, 7th, yes.
Yeah, here's the move on board with Troy Carricker. You're going to see him duck out, and he actually broke a little bit sooner than Dylan Godinez, but he broke a lot more shallow. He brakes really hard right at the end. He locks the rears up just a skosh, Sam, but he's able to make it through. Godinez gives him plenty of room. Carricker is going to accelerate away on the outside, and that's how you make a pass in turn 1 at Portland. And they will resume their battle with Godinez in 7th, Carricker in 6th. We'll cut back to Kendall Paul and Matt Sisler.
Paul always seems to have a good car on the long run. As we get into the closing 5 laps of this event, he's not going to allow Matt Sisler just to shake him off, and he's going to try and make up this spot, see if he can't get into the 2nd position. Anything could happen to Sean Roberts up front, but if it did happen to Sean Roberts, he could probably get an iced tea and a Wendy's burger, and he'll be able to save the car with a 10.5 second lead on 2nd place.
Yes, it does. Sean Roberts has expanded that lead out over 10 seconds now. So it's going to take a very, very, very big mistake for Sisler, Kendall Paul, and Ryan O'Donoghue to close back in. But give the call down to Ryan O'Donoghue for sticking with it. He is still making up time on Matt Sisler and Kendall Paul. This time through. Last time Ryan O'Donoghue was half a second quicker. Wow. He's half a second quicker again. Yeah. He's chopped it down 1.7 seconds at the line. Now, is he going to be? He just may get there, getting there is one thing. He's only going to have, you've only really got one opportunity to pass him once you get there, though. And he may only get that one shot because the math says he's going to get there coming to get the white flag.
John Roberts looks like he may be just slowing the pace down just enough that he can drive carefully and safely in the closing laps of this race. Some drivers will do that if they build up a big lead. They will just kind of turn it down just a scotch, just in order to preserve a good finish and not make mistakes, not so that snake can come up and bite them at the end of the race. And so his lap times reflect that he may be just pulling up a little bit on his speed.
He may be. He's not running the outright fast laps that he was earlier.
Right.
But still very respectable
Still
lap times.
They're respectable laps, no question about that.
Now here's the thing, and this is the one that'll drive most people nuts, Sam, is, the history of racing is littered with guys who said, man, I've got this thing won. I'm going to back it down and, preserve the car and not make a mistake. And in backing it down, they get out of the rhythm and make a mistake. Probably the most famous example of that was Ayrton Senna, 1988 in Monte Carlo, where he had a huge lead and dialed the pace back to preserve the win and wound up crashing. Another example of that in a mechanical term would be Mario Andretti, 1987. He had a huge lead, the Indianapolis 500. Per team instructions, they backed down the engine. It was one of the brand new Chevrolets, unproven at the time. They didn't know if it could make the 500-mile distance. Andretti backed it down, broke a harmonic imbalancer, burned a piston, and his day was done, and that car was long gone that afternoon.
Wow.
That car was long gone that afternoon. And what's crazy about it is, in order to diagnose the problem, Chevrolet went back and they have, even back then they had an engine dyno that could replicate, and they had telemetry. It was rudimentary, but they had it. So they went back and ran the engine the same way that Mario had run it in the 500, and it broke at exactly the same time. Turns out, by turning the fuel down, it had lowered the RPM, and the engine developed a harmonic imbalance. Had he just kept going flat out, the thing would have lived.
Wow. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
That's one of those. Only an Andretti could have that happen to him. Ryan O'Donoghue.
They do have the worst luck at Indy.
They do. Ryan O'Donoghue gives the boot to Kendall Paul going into turn 6.
He sure has.
That wasn't.
It wasn't intentional. He's apologizing to Kendall for the tap.
I was going to say that was a little bit more than I'm here.
It was just a misjudgment on Ron's part. The way he's feeling, his depth perception may be affected.
Oh, I fully sympathize with that. Last year during the Open Wheels 500, as we come to get the white flag for this group.
Woo, he got a handful of race car right there.
It's mandatory qualifying order on day one. I go to sit down in my rig, and I was running 103 degree fever, and pulled out and qualified for that race. Qualified for that race, and then, I don't know how we did it. Seb Alexander, Jesper Orman, Chris Wilhite, some awesome, Rashad Craig, some awesome teammates, talked me through that run. But that was wild.
Oh no, Dylan Godinez. On the last lap, Dylan Godinez.
He's looped it. He gets it going again, but he's an 8.
Yeah, he goes through turn 11. He just loses it there and goes through the grass, and that allows Sean Merriman to get right there before they take the white flag. But still going to salvage a good finish tonight for Dylan Godinez. But boy, that's heartbreaking to lose one more spot on the last lap.
Yes, he is. Sean Roberts is going to come across the line, win the race. Matt Sizzler, the Sizzler strategy works out. He is going to bring it home second, so he picked up 3 spots by playing the stage in the pit rules. Kendall Paul is going to bring it home third. Ryan O'Donoghue is fourth, and we're going to climb up in the flag stand because here comes Jacob Wilson and Troy Carricker. That's fifth and sixth. There they are. Sean Merriman is going to be along here in a moment. There he is for seventh. Dylan Godinez in eighth. Lee Campbell ninth. And just like death and taxes, James Hodgson is going to cross the line in 10th. And those are your 10 finishers, Sam, here at Portland.
John Roberts gives a big holler over the mic when he crosses the start-finish line. He's excited about this win. He and Matt Stisler are going over post-race discussion, just congratulating one another and kind of just talking about the event. Good job by these drivers as a whole. There was some misfortune, but there was a lot of good racing as well.
Yes, there was, and the result of that good racing is this. Sean Roberts is going to be your winner. Matt Sisler second. Kendall Paul will round out the podium. Ryan O'Donohue, Jacob Wilson are your top five. Troy Carricker, Sean Merriman, Dylan Godinez, Lee Campbell, and James Hodgson are the remaining finishers in positions 6 through 10. In 11th, Joseph Klein. 12th is John Hutchins. Andrew Gates, 13th. Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement, 14th. David Dunwoody brings it home, 15th. Jason Heaney did not start the event.
There was some, I was very pleased that the race played out kind of how I thought it would. There would be some pack racing. Of course, in the longer run, things kind of got a little bit more spread out, but there was racing for position in many instances tonight. So I was very encouraged to see some of that throughout the stages. And then just some very unfortunate situations with Jacob Wilson, who worked his way all the way up into the third spot and then taking that late spin and giving up a couple of spots there. Troy Carricker, what a great run by him to have a couple of mistakes and then just drive back up to sixth spot. And I really, in all rights, Dylan Godinez started in the eighth spot. He finished in eighth spot. He got as high as fifth at one time, I believe, and so he did a good job. Tough night for James Hodgman, who started in the fifth position. He and Joseph Klein, they both started in the fourth and fifth positions and then finished respectively in the 10th and 11th spot.
It was a tough night for those two guys. Came together. Incident really not of neither of their making. Racing deal all the way around. Tough break for
Joseph Klein. Was very disappointed in how that played out. He felt like maybe it could have worked out differently if James may have reacted differently, but it's just in my opinion, I felt like James was doing the right thing and just getting off the racetrack. There's no way, he's in the middle of the track anyway, so he thought that he was moving out of the way.
Yes, indeed. We do have Kendall Paul in the broadcast booth, or in the waiting room. Kendall, you've got Murph, you've got Sam Crow in the P1 booth. Fun day here at Portland for you?
Not too bad of a day. I mean, second in both stages, come out with a podium at Portland. I'll take it all day, every day.
It is indeed. What about this track makes it different from some of the other road courses we go to?
Yeah, I was trying to explain it to the teammates or whatever, and it seems like you got to get that flow going right through each corner, and of course you got the back straightaway, which is not actually straight; it's curved around. So these Xfinity cars don't 100% like it necessarily. They want a nice straightaway. So that was a challenge to kind of keep the tires underneath you. That's, I think, what ended up burning tires up a lot there too as well. And the first chicane on the front stretches is insane. It's very kind of similar to COTA, but there's no banking to help you. Well, there's no incline to help you brake. So it's a very, very unique track. It's a fun track to race. Did the IndyCar series here, and IndyCars are really fun here. I really enjoyed that there, but kind of sad to see this track go here for the Xfinity Series, Black Magic Studios Series. But looking forward to the future for what we go next year.
Kendall, it's a great run tonight. You proved that you had a podium car by all rights. You had great pace running late in the stages, but we also saw where the back of the car, you were losing rear tire grip very quickly in these cars tonight, weren't you?
Oh yeah, and especially that last stint. Even though it was shorter, you were trying to run harder, and we had a situation race control wise there at the beginning of the stage 3, so I was preoccupied with that, and I lost a whole bunch of spots in turn 1, so that's what really hurt me, I think. But pretty decent recovery.
What were you trying to accomplish there with the alignment that you were trying to do before the beginning of the last stage?
Well, we had a situation with John's car there. He was telling him to pass everybody, and I was trying to give him an end of line that he could start in the back, but it was just refusing. So I was trying to see if I needed to clear black flags or whatever. So I had my mind on that, and then there was a corner, and yeah, we blew it.
I got you.
Well,
it's a great finish tonight, nonetheless.
Either way,
yeah.
I was going to say, either way, Kendall, you took some trips through the grass. You ran over some curbs. You got sideways a few times, but all in all, you bring it home third. And with the third, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, like I always do, got to thank Archway Industrial Coatings, the guys that make this all happen and make the broadcast happen for us. I can't thank them enough. They're very supportive with this league and everything, and willing to let us do our own thing and that sort of stuff. So I got to thank them. Can't thank them enough. All the rest of the league sponsors, Black Magic Studios, Admin Box, Track Racer, Rogue Energy. I do some things, some shape or form on the car or for the league. So gotta thank them. Gotta thank all the guys at DPI, and thanks to James. I've learned a little bit from him in this race, and gotta thank all y'all for broadcasting this. It's really greatly appreciated, and you guys put on a great show, and gotta thank all of the league staff, the devs. Keep this thing going too.
We appreciate you, Kendall. Get out of here. Keep going fast, having fun. We'll see you at the next one, buddy.
Yeah, see you guys. Thanks.
Yep. That is Kendall Paul. He runs third today. For today's strategy move of the race, we're going to move along to second place, Matt Sizzler. Matt, you've got Murph, you've got Sam Crow in the P1 booth. We had a poll as to whether or not in the chat going as to whether or not that deal of pitting to get tires was going to work out. Half said yes, half said no. So there was no decisive answer, but it did. You came in fifth. You got the lead at the stage break, and you wind up second. How difficult was it to hold off first Jacob Wilson and James Hodson, and then Kendall Paul with those tires that had a couple extra laps on them?
It was definitely difficult. Portland is like a completely different beast to Watkins Glen, and that's my best track. But I pitted with 2 to go because I was running second, and I could see the guys behind me catching, and I'm like, okay, let me at least see if I can't get this thing in clean air and maybe have a chance to hold off the 13 for a few laps. And I know him from previous leagues, so I wasn't gonna. I knew he was the best car. I wasn't really gonna fight him all that hard, because I knew we did bang doors a little bit on the opening lap, but I wasn't gonna be overly aggressive. I knew he was the class of the field with the 14 fading, so it was difficult. Like the 51 was all over me. Kendall caught me, and Ryan O'Donohue, I think, ended up being my savior a little bit because he got in there and caused a little bit of chaos with the 51, and then he caught Kendall and then put a little bit of pressure on Kendall, and that kind of sprung our 3 birdies ZL1 out into relatively clear air, and we were able to just bring it home for second.
Matt, you keep these podium finishes coming here late in the season. You just keep becoming a household name here in the AMA, and you're making your presence known. But this one seemed to be something that you had to work a little bit harder for tonight, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Portland, like I said, is not one of my better road courses. I like road course racing, especially in the Xfinity cars and these and the trucks, but Portland, not my strong suit. The track is extremely technical. It's nothing like Watkins Glen where I'm able to, it's more free flowing. It's not quite an oval, but it's definitely a higher speed one, whereas this is more technical road course style, proper road course, not like almost a speedway, which is what kind of the Glen can be at times. So it was definitely difficult, and it was just a matter of keeping the car on the road. That was my major concern. That's why I knew guys were catching me under braking into one and catching me under braking into a couple other corners. Just not so much that I didn't like it. It was like I was just concerned with not losing the car, because if the way this track is, you make one mistake, in the technical sections from like 3 to the back straight, you're going to go off. You could spin, you could cause chaos, or at the very least, you're going to lose a number of spots in time. So I was very careful to not make mistakes here again, because Portland's not one of my better tracks. It's definitely a fun track, but it's not one of my better tracks.
Well, nonetheless, it was a great run again tonight, Matt. We're looking forward to see what you can do here in the rest of the season.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. With the podium, you know the drill. You're a veteran at this by now, Matt. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
All right. I appreciate that. Obviously, sponsor of our lovely number 35 Chevrolet ZL1 Three Birdies Golf Company. Love what they do. Love their sponsorship. The fact that they've been with us for over a year now is really, really cool. Go check them out at threebirdiesgolf.com. They make a bunch of really cool golf apparel, and you can just wear it every day. I know I do a lot of the time. Zach Millett, that S4 guy over on Twitch, he does, he did this paint scheme, and I'm getting to say his name quite a bit. I don't know if he expected me to say his name that much, but I give him the plug every time I can, because this is an incredible looking Chevy, and I'm very grateful that he was able to put this paint together for me. The good folks at Redline, Track Bar Media, I call it Adrian College, Celsius for the quick energy, Peace, Love, and Pause Rescue, my teammates over at M3S Motorsports, the Black Magic Studios for being the sponsor for this awesome series, everybody at AMA for putting it on. And last but not least, you guys at P1 for the awesome broadcasts. Hope I could make that a little bit interesting by staying out there and putting a little bit of a pressure on the 13.
You were the exception tonight. We've been waiting for someone to take that gamble, and so you were definitely the exception.
Absolutely. Get out of here. Keep going fast, having fun, Matt. We'll see you tomorrow night at Darlington.
I believe so. Yeah, that should be fun.
It always is, my man. We'll see you tomorrow night, Matt. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy.
Congratulations.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
That is Matt Sessler. He runs second, and for the win, we're going to bring in Sean Roberts. Sean, you've got Murph, you've got Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. How about it, man? Dominant. You win all 3 stages. You get past Sizzler there. He tried the strategy to get in front, but he couldn't hold you off. You wind up walking away, win by over 12 seconds. What does a statement win like that feel like?
Oh, I wasn't expecting a statement win. I was expecting Ryan gave me a good run that first stage and a half, and I don't know if he had an emergency braking to try avoid taking me out or what. I saw him spinning my mirror, but he was giving me a good run. I was expecting him, Evans, and a couple of the other guys that I raced against at the Glen, and to really put up a good race. And it was just, I wasn't expecting such a dominant run like that.
Well, dominant is probably an understatement, but considering a couple of times in the race where you found yourself, Sean, in that battle, especially in that first stage, because Ryan and you, we're between practice and qualifying, both of your lap times were very similar, and both of you were easily putting on a great show up until Ryan lost it in the turn 1 chicane. But can you just give us a little insight of what you're thinking in those instances about how you're going to let this thing play out, what happens when you get into a big lead and you're thinking to yourself, do the noises in the car get a little louder? Do you think about letting off the pedal a little bit more? It was a great run tonight, man. It's just a stellar run by you tonight. But I'm just a little more curious about what goes through a driver's mind when he like Mark was saying just a moment ago, when it's that dominant. What's actually being processed?
Well, the big thing was I didn't want to send to this race. I didn't want to get that big lead and then back it off and then just spin the car into the wall somewhere. That's the last thing I wanted to do. So I was definitely running a pace, but I was not running away. I was just basically managing the gap to Sisler on that last stage. The big thing for me with this race was managing the tires. This car will eat up the tires at this track if you're not careful. So even on that first stage when I was running against Ryan, I was just trying to manage my equipment through that whole run.
Manage it was really a great job, and it's a great explanation for what you did tonight. But you did it with precision, and so great job. I heard you cue the mic when you crossed the start finish line. So I was really excited to hear that it meant something to you winning this race like you did tonight. It's always nice to know that drivers show up here and that is their sole goal is to win a race, and it meant something to you. So when you made that yelp on the open mic, it was really encouraging to me.
Well, the reason for that was I've been on the platform for 4 years now, league racing in NASCAR for almost just as long, and this was my very first win in a league race. That's why I cheated up. I was really excited. And like I said, I just wish there was a little more battle to it. I just felt like the whole thing around, I'm like, it's kind of anticlimactic, but a win's a win, I guess.
Hey, take it. Not many drivers. There may be a lot of drivers in their racing career that say, "Oh, I squeezed one out. I won it by less than a second. I beat this guy on the last corner." But very few drivers are going to be able to say that they dominated a race and won by 10 seconds. So enjoy the win, my friend.
Oh, I will.
As is the tradition here at P1, Sean, you get on the podium, you win a race, you get the mic. And so if there's anybody out there you want to say hi to, friends, family, sponsors, go ahead and shout them out, man. The floor is yours.
Oh, again, big thanks to Ken Dale and the guys over at AMA. They're putting on a fun league. I've only been here for a few weeks, and I've been enjoying it, ups and downs and all that. You guys at P1, you guys put on a great broadcast. I follow the race every single week after we race. Just thanks to everyone that I've raced against all the years between Lone Star Racing, Numb Thumbs. I mean, it got me to this moment where I can get this win. That's definitely felt it paid off. If you want to check me out, I am on YouTube. I post these races a couple times a week. YouTube.com/SeanRoberts. And yeah, that's all I got for tonight.
Well, you could post this race on YouTube with a big trophy on the moniker, because if it's your first win, congratulations. I got a feeling that there's going to be a lot more in your future, Sean.
Oh, I hope so.
Absolutely. Get out of here. Keep going fast, having fun, my man, and we will see you at the next one, Sean.
See you guys at the next race.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. It
is Sean Roberts. He is tonight's winner, and Sam,
kudos. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Your first league win. I remember my first league win when iRacing when the service started. I remember my first league win. I had league wins back in the N2K3 days, but when I started racing iRacing full time again back in 2018, I think it was. I remember my first league win coming back when they started league racing.
See, I don't remember my first league win, and it's probably because it's past the time where I ate breakfast last, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast. I do recall the ones I remember the ones that I've lost more than I remember the ones that I've won. There are a few of those
that's human nature. Sometimes we'll win. We'll forget 10 good days for the one bad day we had.
Yes, we will. The good news is we've got a lot of good days coming here at P1. Tomorrow night, Sam and I are going to be back. It's the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series, round 19 from Darlington. That's going to be 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. On Saturday, Gary Godso and crew will have the championship finale of the 2025 IndyCar iRacing Series presented by 4D Raceway. That's going to come to you live at 2 o'clock. On Tuesday night, we're going to have the IndyCar Oval Series presented by Techtopia. That's at 8:15. It's going to be a special time next week for the IndyCar Series Monday night top split. And the reason for that is Monday night is obviously Labor Day. There are some people that can't, some regular competitors that cannot make it. And so instead of Monday for the Indy Open Series, it's going to be Wednesday, still at 8 p.m. Next Thursday, Sam, we are right back here with the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series from Gateway. Do want to thank everybody who makes this possible, the fans in the stands, the drivers on the track, all of our friends and partners at the AMA Blackmagic Studios, Archway Industrial Coatings. But we really want to thank the people who really make it possible, the military, the police, the firefighters, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and Sam, the nurses that are in the emergency room when you get there. From the bottom of our heart, we thank you.
We thank you.
Sam, we've got a, golly, what is it, 23-hour or 21-hour break?
What? I get a break?
We get a break. Get some sleep, man.
Oh, well, I think I may try that. What a novel idea. What a novel idea. Sleep.
Indeed.
I'll have to do a Google search for that.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.